I write these intros near the end and it's only just dawned on me that of course it'd be a guide to a hero all about electricity right after my power supply blew up and took my computer with it. But hey, Disruptor, a rare class of hero whose name doubles as his role in the game, like Sniper, Silencer, and Dazzle. If Disruptor as a hero doesn't interest you at all, stick around because in a bit I'll explain how he counters every hero in the game and even some heroes who aren't in the game. Disruptor is in the camp of being a hero you pick to counter heroes they pick to counter your carry's pick. Now here is a few of the counters. You guys ever heard of semantic satiation? Look, Disruptor isn't really countered by much. You want proof? Let's look at another hero's Dota buff matchups. Here's Meepos. There's like 10 heroes before we even get to under 3% of a differential on average win rates. Then let's take some common no-nos when it comes to picking into someone else's pick. Obviously you've got Meepo into Leshrac at 10.4%, then there's Wraith King into Anti-Mage 5.81 and Broodmother into Axe at 5.36. These are all pretty small numbers, but if you walked into a game and did this, I can guarantee your team will immediately call GG, and they might not even be wrong. With that in mind, let me show you Disruptor's matchups. A bunch of 1% win rate differences, but maybe I'm rambling and it's more to do with Disruptor being a support with less impact in a game's outcome. Well, other than the way we play him. In general, the tier 1 counters are people outside of your role who can save people in them. Oracle, Io, Chen, Pugna, Shadow Demon, but don't even worry about any of that because 4 of the 5 heroes I just mentioned are in the top 10 least played heroes of all time. The one guy escaping that is Pugna, who's 25th. I guess people really hate picking heroes whose job is to help teammates. Who knew? So that pretty much means the only counters to Disruptor are never seen in a typical game, right? Except the tier 2 counters are all big, durable carries, maybe with a form of magic resistance, and they're in every game. The tier 3 counters are just heroes that don't rely on spells and who stand perfectly still in fights. Now the hero's Disruptor counters is the interesting conversation, because Disruptor counters every form of escape, every form of blink initiation, every form of channeling spell from up to 2000 range away. Obviously, if I class a hero as able to counter escape, clearly his top triumph is over Slark, a hero whose only role in Dota's official catalog is escape. Also in this tier are Storm Spirit, Anti-Mage, Queen of Pain, and in the other tiers are heroes who blink in to start fights and heroes who have channeling spells that can be cancelled, like Enigma's Black Hole and Crystal Maiden's ult. But even if you know you're going to pick him, just wait as long as you can. Pick him last. If you get people picking Embers, AMs, Quaps, they've just walked into a trap. If you pick it first or too early, they just don't pick them at all. Special mention goes out to Nagasaren just because it's so satisfying to have him cast ult, walk away, and still be in range of Glimpse when Song of the Siren ends. She can walk away, you can wake up, you can bring her all the way back, take another nap, and wake up again to kill her. This guide is also in game. At this point, you already know this, right? Here's the build I go. Q level 1, then max W, E level 3, then max Q second, and field third. Ult at the normal levels. While arguments can be made for field level 1, Thunderstrike deals 160 damage to potentially multiple targets. It's one of the highest damage nukes level 1. Great for room skirmishes. But that's not important compared to my next point. Glimpse is the greatest spell in your repertoire. It might even be the greatest spell in all of Dota, and it deals absolutely no damage. What it does is reposition enemies, an ability so powerful, the few spells and items that can do it max out at about a 600 unit range. Glimpse is nearly limitless. The only cap it has is its cast range, so we max it by level 7 to get the highest range we can get. So let's just get right into advanced stuff. The first thing to understand is that 4 seconds is a lot longer than you think it is. I actually stole this from my ex-girlfriend, who I assume was also talking about Disruptor at the time. Thunderstrike strikes 4 times over 6 seconds, the first strike happening immediately. The math prodigies out there can surmise that the third hit happens at exactly 4 seconds. Thunderstrike's effect is visible the entire time and reveals heroes in fog. This perfectly combos with Glimpse. Glimpse moves the target back 4 seconds, but you already know that. It's the literal description of the ability. It does not do it instantly though. A little blue spark marks the final destination, in over 1.8 seconds or a speed of 600. Another little ball travels from the target to the spark, whichever is faster. And there it issues a stop command. That probably doesn't mean much, except a stop command will immediately cancel Storm Spirit's Ball Lightning, Void's Time Walk, and any form of channeling spell. It even cancels Puck's Phase Shift in any form of Cyclone. It can only be dodged by Manta styled abilities that can give you a split second of complete immunity, and obviously spells that take you out of the game completely and are uncancelable, like Snowball, Supernova, and probably the easiest way to dodge Glimpse, Doppelganger. The classic use of Glimpse is to just send people who have teleported into Defender Tower back. Be careful with this though, because if they respawn and immediately TP, you can actually send them to where they were before they died. Glimpse doesn't count heroes being dead in the 4 seconds. You can also up the ante of this with an IO Disruptor combo where you kill a guy, relocate 11 seconds before he respawns, get vision of him by any means, and glimpse him back to where he died, where you and IO will be joining him to kill him again. Repeat ad nauseum. Kinetic field at max is 4.4 seconds with a 1.2 delay beforehand, but you effectively start reaping the benefits of it immediately because as soon as the enemy hears the sound and sees the particles, they try to run. This this means in a way it's more of a 5.6 second duration. Field and Slark's pounce are coded in the exact same way. The closer you get to the rim, the slower your movement speed all the way to 0. That also means the same skills that don't work against pounce also don't work here. Mirana's Leap, Magnus' Skewer, and Force Staff. Also, an interesting thing to note is Ember Spirit's Remnant casts, when Ember's pushed against the edge, won't move at all. It travels at 1.5 the speed of him, and 1.5 times 0 is still 0. Kinetic Field also gives vision. Chuck it in the trees when you think someone's hiding, or secure a tower with it. Static Storm is potentially an AoE item cancelling, damage dealing 7.5 seconds silence. Static Storm's particle system makes it look the exact same radius as Kinetic Field, but in reality Static Storm's radius is 450 to Field's 340. Good to know. Static Storm's first tick of damage is 2 and its last tick is 75. The damage per tick increases linearly up that scale every quarter of a second. This means it is a completely viable and actually recommended strat from me to start your silence before Kinetic Field and Glimpse finish, especially early when you're dealing with Field running out before Storm. Static Storm with Ags also stops enemies from using items, so pretty much is just used to stop BKBs. It isn't, however, a BKB piercing ability. If they pop BKB beforehand, the spell does absolutely nothing. We're in dangerous territory, my friends. I'm about to pretend like I'm a god tier support player with enough credentials to teach you guys, because Disruptor is a support who buys Observer Wards. A lot. Start off with tangos, then immediately give up most of them to your teammates begging for them. Pick up a Clarity, 2 Iron Branches, a Circlet, and buy wards and couriers depending on what's needed. We then immediately start farming for our boots of choice, Arcanes, because you're going to find you're short on mana a lot. At the 10-minute mark, snag the tome unless someone of higher priority wants it. I wrote a spreadsheet arranging every hero in the game in order of their priority on using tomes on themselves. I actually had a date, but I blew it off specifically so I could do this for you guys. It took far too long for the amount it'll be used. If you want to use it, it's the first link in the description. Bookmark it or something. Your core items are wand and any item that builds out of Sage's Mask. It's the only mana regen item we get and we need it. I go for Soul Ring, but you could go for Urn or Medallion. And then we go Force Staff, because we're really rewriting metas here. A support going Force Staff, oh my god. Oh man. After that, everything kicks off. You can get anything a typical inter support would go. And if you really wanted to live up to Disruptor's title of Stormcrafter, pick up Yules, Maelstrom, and some Raindrops. If you know you'll end up needing Ags, however, you better be planning on getting a lot of kills, or else you'll need a Midas to get it at a reasonable time, so plan ahead. Disruptor, the way I play him, is safely nested in the farming support role, so take him dual offlane, dual safe lane, whatever you want, just avoid tri-laning with him. Even solo suicide lane is better than tri-laning, because we need our levels. Before that though, gear up for a rune engagement. If you go on someone, do not Thunderstrike them. He'll get lower and lower, and at a point he'll realize he's dying faster than the person he's attacking. He'll run, you'll attack him, he'll get out of range. Then, with your 800 cast range, 200 more than your attack range, you'll put Thunderstrike on him and finish him off with it. Ward up in the normal places. I'll make a video specifically for warding later, and when you take towers, place a ward that gives as much vision behind a tower as possible. Glimpse is your greatest spell, but not using it is even more powerful. If you manage to get a kill on someone with Glimpse still off cooldown, you've just won double the free farm your carry would have gotten. Get vision of the tower without the tower having vision of you, wait for him to TP in, then wait 2 seconds more, then send him back. The strat's so old, I even have a gem that counts how many times I've done it. Since I started writing this guide, I've scored 34. An alternative to the strat is to mark where he dies, and if he respawns and immediately TPs, you have 2 seconds in which he'll be sent to where he died rather than the fountain again. Kill him over and over. Regardless, towers will topple and the mid-game will commence. Your ult is important, but not important enough to let a teammate die because the ult wouldn't have caught enough people. If it kills one person, great. If it only saves a teammate, fine. As long as you're using it as much as possible, you're playing right. I mean, you could even farm with it if you really wanted to. Farm that triple stack, your support stacked for your carry. Or better yet, if you're a smart person, don't do that. Level 14 means maxed out QW and E, which means a maxed out Disruptor. It also comes around the time when the enemy are just about to pick up a BKB, so get as much done before that. After BKBs are up, take fights fleetingly to burn some charges and start fighting aggressively when the BKBs are low, so you can sit back and wait for them to expire, then cast all your spells. If we want to get more in depth with Disruptor's peaks, one massive one hits at level 6 and 7 when ult's online and Glimpse is maxed out. Other than that, there's no peaks and the line just sort of maintains until he can't put levels in his spells anymore, where it just turns into a swift drop. So end early. And finally, Disruptor doesn't bring anything to the table in terms of a post-fight push. He does no damage, has no heals, has no auras. This translates to you totally being able to give your life to win a team fight to keep your clinks or something alive. He'll push for you. I hope. Or maybe you can sit in purgatory silently screaming while he farms his jungle. On second thought, maybe we should just go back to picking carries. Shakespeare once wrote, "Brevity is the soul of wit," but I ran out of wit like 10 videos ago, so this outro is going to be very long. If you're watching the only way to playlist, just skip ahead to the next video. So hey, this is my first video post PSU meltdown. I managed to hopefully recreate every single asset that makes these videos unique, and maybe you didn't even notice that I had any issues. I've been busy this month. Dream League wrapped up like a week ago, and for some reason they thought it'd be cool to fly me over there, so I went and it was fun. That trip, plus my PC issues, plus a few other things, all end up to the first of 4 videos for the month being released 4 days before the month's over. It just sort of worked out like that. One of the builds was conceived while watching the Dream League finals. You'll know what I mean when that comes out in a few days. This guide was brought to you by my pledges. You ready? Christian Rudder, Free Kill, Brandon Kuhn, Matt Masters, Crit Satsu, Pudimon, Apfos, Wooshbar, Spartan Wolf, Pearson, Newborn, Michael Robb, Chet Kanan, Simon, Shadow Sweetheart, Evil Motherfucking Jellyfish, Aaron Tang, Jacob Miller, Mobius, Lasse Kvitstad. Yeah, I bet you thought I'd pronounce that one wrong, didn't you? HX Light, Leon Stinks, Snuggly Wuggums, Grumpy Bear, Lord Herbert, Ninny Bottoms, Chestnut, Yabus McGee, Outer Center, Adam Sienna, Tsunami Shadow, Gregulus, Green Leaf Shank, Joy Deludens, Wing, Martin Thoreau, Max of S2D, Shoop, John Boone, Milo Code, and Radical Mitchical. If you want your name read in these credits, give me your fucking lunch money, nerd. Check out my Patreon. To the rest of you, tune in next time to see a guide for Zeus, Timbersaw, and Visage. Yeah, I'm literally just saying the next guides. I'm not even joking about these. Those are the next guides. Cool. Yeah, it's a reward for hanging out until the end of the video. Yay, you now know what's going to come out tomorrow. Oh, good.